Good morning. Welcome to October, our first coffee chat for October. And we were just talking about gratitude, so we thought we better get this party started and record it. So I want to start with a couple announcements because that's where I was headed, was that our coffee chats in October are going to be sort of a theme around mental fitness. So each of the topics is going to kind of have a different take on, you know, things that affect us mentally. And we're going to give tips on how to, you know, alleviate stress or to use time that you are already, so it's not extra time, or, you know, just ways that you can achieve more and stress less. Or not even worry about that achieving more, which is what we talked about just before getting on the recording, was gratitude. Sometimes we need to just get right-sized in the moment with some gratitude to bring us back to a place of abundance and realizing that we are blessed and that we have everything we need in this moment, and to not beat ourselves up about not achieving certain things or being mad at the world or ourselves or our spouse or our workers, you know, and focusing on that gratitude to just kind of like get that inner serenity, that peace of that we all seek. Ultimately, that's what we're seeking, right? Some peace and feeling good in who we are in this world. So mental fitness is going to be our theme in October. Next week, we are actually talking about managing time and how that affects us mentally, and how to create more time, even though we all have 24 hours. So we're going to recap that now. We've talked about this in the past, but as we're going into the holidays, we're going to kind of give you some tips on, you know, how to stress less and still achieve the things you want to. Okay, so one of those too is audibles. So our book that's coming up that we're going to talk about is Rachel Hollis's Girls Stop Apologizing. And if you haven't got this and you want to follow along, get the Audible. It's a great way to listen to the book while you're driving. So you're already doing something, and so you can use that time to also listen to the book. This book is cut down in 3 parts. Part 1, excuses to let go of. Part 2, behaviors to adopt. Part 3 is skills to acquire. Perfect, right? Okay, there's the manual. It's 206 pages. So if you were to read starting today, so for 30 days, it's 7 pages a day. I know for me, when I'm listening to Audible, I kind of like cruise right through that, the book faster. So we're going to be talking about that book and those concepts. Bevy is coming to Canada December 2nd. So if you, Karen, have ever wanted to try that, it's coming your neck of the woods. And then I was just looking at some of the things out in our coaches page, and Autumn is she's had some gut issues. So she's currently going through changes in her nutrition, and she's creating a 4-week gut protocol and a 4-week for every body. So it's just, I don't know any of the details, but I saw it's coming in March 2022. So just know that that's coming. It'll be exciting. And so we're talking about meal planning and portion fix today. So those are my announcements. Did you have any, Deb?
Yeah, we were talking and trying to game plan on our month of October, and then I go, oh, boink, 3-day refresh. Looking at doing it after Halloween. We kind of do this annually, so we're going to continue to do it annually because it helps us. So kind of navigating through the bod group, and looks like we'll probably do a 3-day refresh after Halloween. Get the sugar out.
Right. Yeah. Gut protocol. So thank you for announcing that, because if you wanted to do that with us and you don't have a kit on hand, we get one ordered so that you have it. Put it in your on your counter in your kitchen, just to remind you not to eat too much sugar going through the Halloween holidays. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started in the topic of meal planning. And so we've got a new group, the October group. So the information that we were covering last week on portion fix, rail 1, the fast track is, not in our October group. So we're just going to kind of recap those. And then I'm going to just do a quick walkthrough of the 4 steps on how I meal plan. And they merge together. Obviously, my 4-step meal planning system comes from portion fix as the foundation. So if you haven't been in here in a while, you go to portion fix under nutrition. I love how they have the drop down boxes now, so you can go straight to it. And it's in the lessons. I'm not going to be playing any videos, but I just wanted to show you. My computer's not quite awake. Okay. Or I've had energizing coffee and it hasn't. Okay. Come on. I feel like, I kind of look at this stuff. There it is. Before I get on here, and then we get on and I start recording and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the portion fix and you've got the lessons. So you got rails 1, 2, and 3. And we are gonna look at 1. That's fast track to fix. And so there's 6 videos here. And if you went through these, you'd be set to go with using the portion control containers. So the first 3 I'm going to talk about, Deb's going to talk about the second 3. So that's how you get to them. And again, this rail 1 is your foundation. It's your fast track. Rails 2 and 3 are more of a deep dive. So if you want to do intermittent fasting, if you want to go more vegan, if you have any questions, eating out, she has a break in case of an emergency. So there's an FAQ with all kinds of questions. So those are in rails 2 and 3. But if you only ever stayed in rail 1, you'd be good to go with the meal planning. So video 1 is the foundation of fix. And it's just the 3 principles and just a quick recap on these. So 1 is portion control. 2 is balanced macros. 3 is eliminating or greatly reducing highly processed foods. So when you eat nutrient dense foods, which is what is our food list, and the top of our food list is more dense than the bottom. When you eat nutrient dense foods, you get to eat more. And the nutrient dense term means it has high nutrients and low calories. So we get the most bang for those foods and we get to eat more of it because the calorie intake is low on those. And so that we don't count calories, but it keeps it, within your calorie bracket. Macronutrients are the nutritional compounds your body needs in large macro amounts. So it's obviously the protein, the fats, and the carbs. And then we've got micronutrients, which luckily when we're drinking our Shakeology, we get tons of micronutrients in there. So if you're using Portion Fix, you're drinking your Shakeology, you're getting those macros and micronutrients. And then reducing the highly processed foods. So an average person in a year consumes 152 pounds of sugar, 152 pounds of sugar. And it's in foods, it's in, hidden in some foods. Obviously we know we're eating it when we're eating candies and certain sweets. But there's also a lot more that we're taking in that we don't realize unless we're more intentional about looking at labels. So just know, and highly processed. So highly processed, we process food when we cook, but the highly processed is the packaged foods or where they're adding, different, and this is going to be one of our topics is sugar, the different types of sugars and the different names that it comes in. and all these additives and fillers and preservatives. And sometimes they're calling it, packaging it as healthy, but they're stripping away a lot of the nutrients and in the process. So we want to definitely be more intentional with looking at labels. So that's video 1. That is why we use Portion Fix, and why it's going to help us. Video 2 is called the First Steps to Fix. That's the you are here. Like if you're in a map and you want to look at how to get to where you want to go, the first steps to fix is you are here. You got to find out where you're at in relation to where you want to go. So this is where we weigh ourselves. And it is one form of knowing where we're at. It's recommended to weigh yourself first thing in the morning, naked. If you are regular in your bowel movements, do that first. Definitely don't drink any water. So that's what I do. First thing I go to the bathroom, I strip down and I weigh, because my bowel movement doesn't come till after coffee. So, we weigh ourselves, and no more than once a week. Recommended, Autumn recommends every 30, once every 30 days, because we're going to recalculate our calorie bracket, which is video 2. So, and then photos. And in the video 2, she shows you how to take photos with your camera and your timer, doing a front, to side, a back, and measurements. And she also shows you how to use like the shaka to, on your thigh, and then where to measure on your arm. So, and measurements are, I think, the most important, because as we're toning up, we're shrinking, and we may not necessarily be losing pounds, but we're losing inches. So, and then the last step in to fix is the why. And it's your why equals your motivation. So in video 1, we learned why we're using Portion Fix. Video 2, you're going to write down your why. Why are you here? Why do you want to achieve your goal? Why is that important to you? And in the 4 steps to meal planning, that's step 1. So we look at that too. And you want to write it down, and we're heading, this is October. So now we got our 4th quarter vision that we're creating. So when you write it down in a way where you can see yourself achieving that goal. Because if you can, again, with your mind, we can show it what we want, it will help you achieve what you want. Okay, so super important. And then video 3 is find your calorie bracket. So in 2, we found, where you are here, where your starting point is. Your why kind of is identifying where you want to go and what you want to achieve. And the finding your calorie bracket is your directions between where you're at to where you want to go. It gives you the containers that you need to eat in a day to get from where you want to where you want to go. So it's your direction to your destination. So, and again, we're like weighing every 30 days, and we're recalculating every 30 days. If you're losing weight. Now, if you're maintaining, if you're maintaining, you can just stick on that, you're good to go, you're set. But this helps us do the math once. We don't ever have to count calories or macros. We just need to know how many protein, how many veggies, how many carbs, how many fats. And, as you do this, it's like, okay, I know I had my 3 carbs already today. So it's just a way to keep things reined in, like to keep you on track. This in the video, when she's calculating, I'll just share the total thing and then go here. So can you see that okay? Deb, can you see that?
I can see it. Yep.
Okay. So when you're calculating, this goes step by step, and we can put this in the files too, but it's under the program materials. So if you're not working out, then you want to calculate it different. It's times 11. So your weight times 11 is your caloric baseline. If you're just maintaining, here's where you will be. if you want to lose weight and you're not working out, you want to take this baseline and subtract 400. That's going to be your calorie target. So this is if you're working out 1 to 3 days a week, only 1 to 3 days a week, or if it's walking. This is where we want to calculate so that we can be in a deficit. If you're doing any of our 30-minute workouts, up to 5 times a week, this is moderately challenging. So this is going to be a majority of our workouts. So then you're going to add 400 and subtract 750. That's your deficit. If you're doing these workouts and you want to maintain, you stop here. This is your maintenance calories. Now, if you're doing couple of the other intense programs that we had that are more challenging, like it would be 80-day obsession, 645 in the later stages, P90X, some of the longer workouts. I would even include, if you're doing insanity, in that I would think would qualify here. So then you're going to plus 600 and then minus 750. So really it's a minus 150, right? So because you want enough calories to keep up your energy there. So just know, and if you need help with that calculation, reach out to us. This is in the materials too. And this is just a really good book that has week to week what to focus on. Kind of will walk you through the videos. It has your food list, checklist on what to do. It has your morning mindfulness, a little thing there, healthy habits, and then evening reflection. So this is in there, and it's a book that used to come with the 21-day fix or the portion fix, I'm sorry. And then every week there's a message, a focus to go into the week with. Okay, so that's videos 1, 2, 3. Now Deb's gonna do 4, 5, 6.
I made a presentation.
Oh, good for you.
So you can share screen. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Here we go. So 4, 5, and 6. Video 4 is the food lists, and I kind of went through this on during the week, but like Louise said, these are our containers, and the rainbow is eating the rainbow. And it's funny because I kind of went through a mind check here, because the rainbow is the color of the containers, but with gut health, it's the rainbow of veggies, but that's funny. But anyways, this whole portion fix is a scientifically driven based upon your calorie bracket, just what Louise just covered. And so your portions of your macronutrients is going to be applied to your specific body. And that's what I like about it. And it's the foundation. That's why Foundation Fix. It's the foundation of all your food and meal planning for the week. And as Louise said, the top third is your most nutrient dense food group. And it's kind of weird because some of the foods, like watercress, I cannot find out at the store. I don't know where it's at. But anyways, but it's specifically food dense groups, and there are little notations here of a plus, or what do you call it, an X, and this and that. So when you go through the rails 2 and 3, there's the carb cycling, time nutrition, intermittent fasting. So those notations are specific for those type of portion control plans. And there's the plus and the X are for carb cycling. And then there's IF for intermittent fasting. Sometimes there's a pound sign. That one is because like this right here, oh, there's a star on this one. The food group is too large for the container itself, so they just provide a specific number of that type of food, like beets, too medium. So this food list you got to be really familiar with, and there's a plethora of ways to find your food list, and it's even in the tracker. You can look it up while you're at the store. Um, as Louise showed where the videos are, there's an attached PDF. So all of this is attached to those specific videos. You can print them out. But the thing is, try to mix up your food groups every week. It's good to keep the top third, but sometimes you may want to change it up and get to the bottom of the list. And that's why the rainbow of food, you should try to not be sticking to the same type of food every week. And that's the big thing. But beware, there's transformations that go along here. So for instance, like pumpkin, if you cube up the pumpkin, it's considered a green. But if it's pureed, when it's cooked down, it's considered a purple. So beware of that because the food kind of changes its content levels of nutrition. Pasta sauce is if you make your homemade one, especially Fixate approved, it's green base, it's a green container. But the store-bought pasta sauce, and if you really look at the label, there's a lot of sugar in it. So that's considered a purple. And it's kind of intuitive and common sense on salsa is pico de gallo. It's chopped up veggies and it goes into a green container. But if you looked at the jarred salsa and look at the label even, there's a lot of sugars in it. So the store-bought salsa is purple. So these are the three top ones that people tend to get confused a bit. I think oatmeal was the other one for the carbs. I didn't put it on here. It's like a 1/4 cup of dry oatmeal is considered for the container, yellow container when it's cooked. So just to be aware of those when you start tallying up your containers for the day. Then the following video is fun. It's freebies and substitution. So this is where I had, actually, I can honestly say the past 3 or 4 months, I've been really delving into, especially with gut health, is to get that variety of food. Well, believe it or not, these freebies are the ones that help with that. And that's where you got the spices, the herbs and extracts. And I really got into the vinegars, like the flavored vinegars. They're free foods. You don't need to count these, but they really add a lot of flavor to your food. When I started out, I just had meat, like a potato and a veggie, and salt, pepper, butter, but it got boring after a while. But now you can just put a little bit of vinegar or even infused flavor olive oil, but that's a different teaspoon set. But have fun with it. And even I was surprised, like hot sauce, like Tabasco, that's a free food and it just adds a little spice. But just still look at the label. Label reading is to make sure you don't have the sugar added, unsweetened, and try to get down to the low sodium. Use salt sparingly. But freebies, it's make it fun. And then the subs, I call it subs, substitution. Now this is where I get a little challenged because I can get overzealous throughout the week. But the biggest rule of thumb is when you substitute containers and stuff, this is where the carbs are, the carb yellow container is something that you probably really need to become an expert on, actually, of all. It's always to get your fruits and veggies, but to be careful and mindful of the yellow container. And the biggest rule of thumb here is what Autumn says, 2 to 3 yellow container swaps a week. And this is where you get the treats like cookies and dark chocolate. If you're a drinker, that's wine, beer, hard liquor, or if you really want that 100% real fruit juice, that's a substitution. That's not something that's just a fruit. Purple container, that is a yellow carb container. So with those, you just have to be very mindful and make sure you tally up what you had for the day before you think about that treat at night. And this is where meal planning is so essential, because you can have treats. Don't hold back on it, but just be mindful of how many you have for the week. And again, there's substitution list in the PDF of the video. And then the last video is what's next, and so Autumn, she kind of went and did a summary of all of the other videos. And just like what Louise said, you got to weigh yourself, take your before photos, take your measurements, state your why, and then calculate your calorie bracket. And then there's like A, B, C, D, E, and F portion plans. So that kind of gives you the tally of the containers for your body. And then get into those food lists and those subs and have fun with it. And then the meal planning. But what does Autumn says? Being prepared isn't half the battle. It is the battle. And that is what's next. And that's where Louise is going to take it to her 4-step program.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so there is video 17 that Autumn goes through meal planning and meal prepping. So those are 2 different things. And one of her preferred methods is called buffet style. So it's just getting if you're going to have some chicken, some lunch meat, some potato, or quinoa, and batch prep those in the weekend, and then you can have them, and you'll see you can have them in your meal plan, like on your salad. Like if you cook chicken one night, then you could have the chicken on your salad the next day. You could put it in a soup the third day, so to make a big batch of this that you're going to use throughout the week. So to keep meal prepping really simple, but you can't meal prep without really a plan. I mean, you could, but you're going about it random. So if you have specific goals, you want to make sure that you're putting a plan together. So I'm just going to walk through my 4-step meal plan quickly with you. So do you see this okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oops. So in the newsletter, I put a link to this. So you'll go through, and each of the videos has the corresponding worksheet to it. So in here, like this that I would send out, there's a video you can click right here. So click here to get started. So step 1 is mindset. And, we talk about this a lot. We have our willpower is our conscious brain. Our subconscious brain is about what 88% of everything you're doing in the day comes from. And that's where our habits are. So that's why we're big on, creating routines and changing your habits, because then things can start running on autopilot. And this comes from our beliefs or, your brain's built-in protection factor. So in the process of doing these things day to day, we start changing that. So before we even look at the food, we do have to look at your mindset. We have to look at what is your why and what is tripping you up. So that's what this is. So we address the behind the scenes forces that generally will sabotage you, even if you have great intentions. It triggers quickly. And so worksheets here, is they're available in that course. And so often you go to a course like video 1, off to the left, it's a downloadable PDF. So you want to look at, you know, what you want to achieve, what are your goals and why they're important, and that vision, like we talked about. That vision is really going to recruit your brain to start helping you. And that is, I can't tell you how, you know, enough of how powerful that is. And then the other thing that we don't usually look at, or, you know, is the obstacles, is the challenges, is things in our previous experience that have tripped us up. So we want to be proactive in looking at these and knowing ahead of time, here's what usually happens, how am I going to handle that? So you want to look at that and write them down, you know, and so that, again, you're making your mind aware, like this is the obstacle we're coming against, we're going to be ready for it. Okay, so you want to, again, recruit your brain, recruit your mind, set for success. So that's mindset, your vision and your why. Okay, so that was video 2. And the foundation of your why, you can create a why statement. So once you do this, you can cut this bottom half off, put it on your fridge, put it on your bathroom mirror, just to remind yourself. And the more you remind your brain and even say it out loud, you know, your intention, then the deeper that gets in there, the more it becomes your superpower. One of the things we're going to look at later in the month is Mel Robbins' book, The High 5 Habit. And this is kind of the same thing. In the morning, you set your intention and you recruit that brain, you recruit the forces that are working inside to help you with what you want to achieve externally. Okay, step 2 is what is your goal? And looking a little bit deeper in this, and what is and how is that goal going to fit into your life? So before we start building a plan, we want to look at our schedule. We want to look at what we have to work around in the week coming up. So instead of trying to just create a plan and hope that we can execute it with all we got going on, we want to flip that around and we want to look at what do we got going on and how can we create a plan that is going to help me succeed in staying on track. Again, this is something people don't usually do. They just look, oh, I'm going to have this, and then life happens and, oh, I forgot I got this meeting. I should have made a crock pot meal that day. So this is just going to help you. And this is part of freeing up your mind with mental energy and being able to stay on track. And it's really, becomes your, from you are here to where you want to go. This becomes part of your map. So again, you've got some worksheets to complete that you will then, when we get into step 3, you'll look at those. So I threw this in here because, again, we're calculating. Now this just has the general one, but know that there might be some tweaks here. And then the plans. So this is really more of a reference, especially for people that are new or just walking into this and just want to plan. The food list, I just threw that in there too, so it's handy. You can identify your favorite food. So when you're doing your meal plan, you're like, okay, yeah, I know I want to have these. And maybe this is also a place where you identify some different foods you want to try. So again, a worksheet here for you. And I just put in this one. It's the larger. You can read it better. You can print this out. You put it on your fridge also. And then step 3 is when we actually start building the plan. So you build it. And the whole concept of this is you build your plan. I can create a plan, but does it fit your life? Does it fit your goals? Does it include the foods you love? Maybe not. So we really want to teach you how to do this, because this is like a life skill that helps you in so many areas of your life. So we just want to keep it simple. And there's a video that I show, we walk through and we do it. In there, I've created these templates. So you guys know I'm all about identifying 3 breakfast options, identifying 3 snack options, and 3 lunch options. Lunch could be things like your Shakeology, or it could be your snack. You know, leftovers, again, like taking the meat from the night before and putting on a salad. So really keeping things simple, but having these options that you're going to identify now, so that when you're going day to day, you already know, this is one of them, and you're including it in your grocery list, so you know you have the ingredients on hand. So super simple. And then in dinners is where we kind of put in our variety, right? So you can line this out. You can have theme days like Taco Tuesday. We do pizza every Friday. Saturday is leftovers. I want to eat up what's in the fridge. You know, and then in this template, you'll have this to print out week to week. I also do identify, you're going to pull your step 2, your life, your schedule, what you got going on, and and use that, have that in front of you. So on Thursday, if you've got an evening meeting, you might want to put a crock pot meal on before you leave the house, so you can come home to this wonderful smelling dinner, right? So you can print these templates out. And then, you know, resources. We want to, again, help you to help yourself, because you know, we want to be your biggest cheerleader, but we'll never be your crutch. We don't want you to rely on us. We want you to learn and use resources to be able to do this on your own. It is empowering, and that is our mission here, is to empower you with the tools and the tactics and the resources that you need to succeed. So the step 4 will bring into play our BOD, the tracker. I talk about in the video, you know, identifying recipes and creating your recipe book. So this is like a cover sheet to put on a binder. I have a 3-ring binder, recipes that are a hit with the family, that are easy to make, that are tasty. I throw them in one of those plastic sleeves and throw them in the binder. And this is my cover on that. Just, it's a quick reference is what this is. So you have that. And then step 4, track it. So this pulls it all together. You know, you've got your goal, you've got your life, your schedule, you've created a simple meal plan, and then how do you stay on track with that meal plan? Because you've identified options, but how day to day are you keeping that in line with your calorie bracket, with your plan A, B, C, D, wherever you fell into? And that is using the tracker. So you can keep it really simple. I've talked about this before, you know, the bookending method. And so when you're tracking your breakfast, you also enter in your dinner. You have those containers for dinner, and then you know what you have left to choose options for snacks and lunch. So it's really simple. If you have your breakfast, you picked one of your breakfasts, you log it in. You know what you're having for dinner that night because you identified it on your plan. You log that in. You know what's left for lunch and snack. Simple. You can build your day out when you're sitting there logging in your breakfast, finishing your coffee, right? 2 minutes, log it all in. If you do that, I encourage you to put the description of what you're eating. Like, okay, so now I have this left for lunch. What am I going to put in there? So salad with chicken, blue cheese, you know, cheese. And then so when you're like looking back at what am I having for lunch? I forgot what I said I was going to have. You can just quickly look at that. It also logs it into your BOD profile there. So you're not making progress. You and I can look at what you've logged in, what you were eating, you know, how your containers were day to day, and how we can make some simple adjustments. And then in the workbook that you'll get, it's just the underlying principles that we talked about, kind of a little bit deeper description on why the 3 principles: the portion control, the macronutrients, and the processed sugar. And then the meal plan principles, we've given you this before in our Getting Started Right guide that you have. Just to remind yourself, it's not a diet, you know, and what we're doing here, and how to keep that mindset to help you and, you know, encourage you instead of, you know, bring you down. So that's the workbook and the 4 steps. So it takes what we learn in that rail 1, and it just kind of makes it really a tactical, actionable way to take what you've learned in rail 1 and put it into play in a very simple way. So any questions? I would like, if you go through those 4 videos, if you put that into play, like your feedback on it. Yeah.
I just want to assert that, we send these meal plans every week. And what's nice about these, it gives you the portion control container count under each recipe. So that's helpful too, if you're just at a quandary of what this tallies at. But that's what's nice about these weekly meal plans.
The video that I did also addresses how I factor in treats. The 3, so here's what I say that's kind of a little bit of a conflict, or not really, it's just a different kind of a take. And, if you're serious and you really, really want to maximize using the system and losing weight consistently, you're going to stick with only 3 substitution yellows a week. That's how I did it in the beginning. If I need to rein myself in, that's how I do it now. You could have a treat every night if you're including it in your tracking, right? You're going to say, I'm having this treat, and it's either going to be a recipe that counts. You can find the in portion in the blog, and it'll tell you the container count, and you can factor that in. Or sometimes if I end up having some chocolate, I'm saving it, or I know I'm going to have some, I save a yellow, and I may be substituting more than 3 times a week. But what I'm doing is I'm trading nutrients for that treat. So I'm not fueling my body like I could. So this might result in lower energy, right? So it's a trade-off. You can still eat treats every night and lose weight if you're factoring it in. That's what I'm saying. But you're trading, it's a trade-off. If you're eating sugar every night, you're going to have more inflammation. You're going to have more gut issues because you're feeding the bad bugs. So if you're at a place where I need to feel better, I need to lose this weight, stick to only 3 substitutions a week. So that's just a caveat because that's what my video says. But I address that. Okay. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in October about sugar and how it's mind and body affects us. So if you're going through that and you have any questions, whether you're looking through the Rail one in the Portion Fix or through the 4 videos in my system, reach out to me. I'm happy. I would love to talk about it and go over it with you. I would love to be able to offer this out to everybody, which I actually sent it out to my whole email list. So hopefully people start using it. It's what I used to create every single meal, every single day, every single week. That's a lot of time and energy and mental, and knowing that I was going to do that and how much time it was going to take and how much mental energy and trying to calculate everything every day, every week. It's and will I stick with that? And then just okay, that's so much. It would be easy for me to I'm not going to do that this week. I'm just going to kind of wing it, So learning how to do it more simple, that doesn't take very much time. I can meal plan, grocery shop in 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, and 2-minute tracking in the morning to stay on track. Keep it simple. All right. But the more you do it, you have to we're retraining that subconscious brain. This is going to become your new habit that you do on autopilot. Promise. But you have to put in the reps. You can't build a muscle without putting in the reps, right? So this is we're putting in the reps mentally to do this. And before you know it, it's just what you do.
It's really nice to get this again.
Mm-hmm.
To
Good.
get this system again.
Mm-hmm.
And I still use this Taco Tuesday and Pizza Friday. We still do that. So
Yeah.
we have stuck with that. So there's a
And
lot of other
leftover Saturdays, and you only got to plan 4 days.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So our family, the 2 of us, we do that. So
Awesome.
yeah, we love it. But I'm looking forward to going through that that again too. So
Good.
thank you very much. I know that was a lot of information to divulge there. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Happy to do it.
And when's a good time? When's a good time to reach out to you, you busy working lady?
7:30 in the morning, I have time because I've dropped Jackson off, and you know, it only takes me a couple of minutes to get to work, so I have time between 7:30 and 7:50 to just do a quick chat. That's when Deb and I get together on Thursdays, or lunchtime, 12 to 1. I have time, and then
So just send you a message and then you can reach out when
Yep.
you have a good time and you can get back.
Yep.
Okay.